Hello. I'm a little sick today, but that's okay. Today we're going to be talking about penetration, where to get it, what uptime should look like, how to understand it from like a DD point of view, I guess you could say. Know what's best for you. So, penetration, right? It's the most important stat in the game for damage. Well, as far as I'm aware. It's really, really important that you reach penetration cap. And that number is, I believe, somewhere like 18,100, 18,200, something like that. So you want to make sure that you get to that number. Now, hear me out. I pulled up a log of an Oaks hard mode from a Planesbreaker prog that I'm in. We don't really want to look at that yet, but I found this other website. Hear me out. It's esoresources.com. It's made by a guy in the rating community, Alec with K, over on NA. Great website, love it. It's really, really, really good. It's got a crit cap calculator to figure out your critical damage, what you need to get their pen calculator, figure out what you need to reach pen cap. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Stuff like that. Just a lot of stuff. Great website. I love it. So today let's talk about pen. Here, okay, so it says 18,200 is your penetration cap. Um, cool. So let's talk about how to get there. First, two things. Major and minor breach. Those are probably going to be your two, like for one, easiest, and two, you're going to have these, you should have them, if you have a tank, you should have these like 100% of the time. So major breach is about 6k and minor breach is about 3k. So let's just call it that, like 6k and 3k, right? Add it up, you're at almost 9,000 pen. You're almost half the way there just from those two things alone, right? So that's great. How do we get those? Okay, so let's take a look at the log. This is where we'll find that out. So let's click on me, right? Let's click on my setup. I'm Temp. Hello. Um, Elemental susceptibility, great skill, fantastic skill. This is what your main tank should be using, and your OT, both of them. They should be using elemental susceptibility on their back bar to give you major breach, as well as a hell of a lot of things that I don't remember right now, but it's a fantastic skill. And if your tank doesn't have it anywhere, then they are trolling you just a little bit. They are heavy trolling. Great skill, like needed, necessary. Next one on the list is Elemental Blockade. This is where you're gonna get your minor breach at. This is a relatively recent thing. They added Blockade, Frost Blockade in particular, gives minor breach to chilled enemies. And if you've got Blockade, as far as I understand it, Frost Blockade, when it ticks and does frost damage, that's going to chill your enemy. So as long as you have Blockade down, you are going to be putting minor breach on all of the targets in the blockade. That's as far as I'm aware. That's I could be wrong, but that's how I understand it. So if you've got these two skills, elemental susceptibility and elemental blockade, you got just those two things. You have already given your entire team of DPS half the pen cap. You're already halfway there with just those two things. Now, I will say there are other ways to get major breach and minor breach, but these are the two that I'm the biggest fan of. They're really, really consistent. You're going to use them for other things anyway. They're just two skills that really, really are going to help you in your raids as a tank, at least. So, make sure you have those. Now we can also let's go and look at the debuffs, right? So this is an Oaks fight. Oaks is there the whole time. Let's go ahead and take a peek at just his pen, right? So major breach and LA sus, all of the above. Minor breaches here too. 99 point whatever uptime, basically 100%. They're really easy to keep up, right? Keep LA sus up, keep your wall up, and there you go. Bam. You've got half the pen cap already. Okay, so we got those two things. Great. Okay, so next thing, let's go ahead and take a peek at Gold Crusher, is what it says on the website. What that means is let's go back to my setup real quick, and I'll show you. Okay, so this enchant right here, reduce armor is what it says in logs. I think it's glyph of crushing in game. I cannot remember. You want this enchant to be gold, and you want the trait on your back bar staff to be infused. The way you keep this crusher enchant up on the target is with your elemental blockade that we talked about earlier, right? So weapons in ESO, like dual wield daggers, like deadly cloak, like dots, right? So deadly cloak, volley from bow, wall from inferno staff or whatever. Those damage over time skills from each weapon skill line, you use those on your back bar to continuously proc your back bar enchant. So we're using blockade for both minor breach, and we're also using it to proc our crusher the entire time on the boss. Now, if you look at the website, a gold infused crusher, like the max you can get out of it, is going to be 2100 pen. That's great. That's, almost as much as minor breach if we look at it, just a little bit off. So, uh, let's add all three together, and then bam, 11,000. Great. Pen caps 18,000. We're at 11,000. That's only 7 to go. Great. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the uptimes, right? So as you saw before, the minor breach was great, so I can only assume that I was keeping up my wall. But now let's be real, minor breach comes from other places, but just giving you blockades for now. Let's take a peek here. Crusher, right here. Looks like I wasn't the only one running Crusher, right? So, 99 again, almost 100% of the time. This is normal. This is how it should be. Like we know that I have it. Let's take a peek at the OT, right? He's got infused reduced armor on his back bar with elemental blockade. Fantastic, great. Your healers can sometimes also run it depending on what you need. Um, Sometimes they like to go weakening, but again, we've got an infused reduced armor gold enchant on a healer. And then let's take a peek at the other healer. A precise see, that's a problem. Now let me explain this. Okay, so if your healer has a precise reduced armor instead of an infused, or any trait, doesn't matter, if it's not infused, it will not have the same value as the one that we are seeing in this website, or the other ones. Infused means that it will what's it do? Infused will increase like the value of your enchant, right? So you want to it boosts the number of the crusher. So if it's not infused, like this one right here is precise, you're gonna have a lower value crusher. You're gonna get less pen out of it. And this one, as far as I'm aware, can override other infused crushers to where you get less pen. So this is a problem that probably needs to be fixed. Um, make sure that they've got infused on the back bar instead of precise. That's something to look for, right? Okay, so we've covered crusher. What's next? What we got? Okay, piercing CP. This is one of those, plug it in, you forget about it, you don't even know that it exists half the time. It's, as far as I'm aware, like 700. Okay, cool. 700 pen, just for free. Literally just for free. It's not a slottable CP. It's just like a passive. You just put the points in, bam, you're done. So I, always have that. Why not, right? Why not have free pen? Okay, so next thing, let's go ahead and imagine that we're playing an Arcanist DD, because most DDs, look, we've got 5 of them on this team. This is standard, right? Either 5 or 6, however many. Very, very standard these days to have a bunch of parse Arcanists. So, let's go ahead and pretend like we're one of them, right? Arcanists have a passive in the Herald of the Tome skill line. I can't remember what it's called. We can go ahead and we can look that up. Just to make sure. Okay, so okay, this one, Splintered Secrets. Increase your physical and spell penetration by 991 per Herald of the Tome ability slotted. So anything in Herald of the Tome, if it's slotted on that bar will get free almost 1k pen per skill. Okay, so let's talk about that, right? Like what on an Arcanist, what would you be getting? So Languid Eye, that should 100% of the time be your back bar ultimate, right? Or well, okay, 99% of the time it should be your back bar ultimate. Um, that's going to be 1k pen on the back bar. Okay, let's keep track. You're not going to be using Rune Blades. It sucks as a bad skill. Exhausting Fate Cover. Bam. That is your main damaging ability on your front bar. So back bar 1k pen, front bar 1k pen. There we're at. We're even now. Cool. Next one, Flail. That's on your front bar, right? That's your spammable to build crux, so 2k pen on the front bar. Great. Next one, Inspired Scholarship. Use that on the back bar. So now we're at 2k, 2k, right? 2k front, 2k back bar. And then this last one, Fulminating Rune. That's going to be a big one on your back bar. So now your back bar is up to 3k pen for free. Your front bar is up to 2k pen for free. So Arcanist, they just have pen. They just have a lot of pen just built right into them, right? So let's go with the conservative amount of 2 per bar, because we're doing most of our damage on the front bar as an Arcanist, right? So let's worry about front bar pen more than back bar pen. So we got 2 Herald of the Tome abilities slotted, and then we got Gold Crusher, and then we got Minor Breach, and then we got Major Breach, and then we got Piercing CP, right? Okay, so now you're at 13,700. Almost 1,400. We got 4.5k pen to go. Okay, so next thing, light armor. Light armor will give you pen, but going full light armor sucks these days. DD's for medium armor, right? But hear me out. Let's take a peek at these logs. Let's close these out here. Okay, so here is a regular DD. We got Numsy, my boy. Normal Arcanist parse setup is going to be something along the lines of Coral Riptide and Deadly Strikes, with some combination, maybe Azure Blight Coral or something, Mecha Acuity, whatever. It doesn't matter. Most of the time, you're going to be in medium armor. Like 99% of the time, you're going to be medium armor. But you can see here, he's got one slot open for a Slime Crop piece, but he's choosing to go light, right? Great. Okay. How many other DDs are doing that? There's we looked at Numsy. Let's look at Water Vision. Water Vision has one light. Cool. Great. Let's take a peek at another DD. Let's go most valued player over here. Another light. This is a standard thing that DDs are doing. They're doing one light Slime Crab piece. Whether it be for sustain reasons or pen or for, well, it doesn't matter. It's meta. You could go 7 medium, but usually you go one light in groups that have kind of shitty pen givers, right? You know what I'm talking about? You got that Zenkosh on your team that has really shitty uptimes, but you keep him around just because he's funny. One of those guys. That's why we got the light piece there, right? You can see here, Sarah on the DK even. It's not even just Arcanist. Other classes do it as well, where they've got 6 medium, 1 light. Let's take a peek at the MK Sork here. Another 1 light. Let's look at the Crow. What's the Crow got? 1 light. There we go. So this is a standard theme across all DDs. All of them. They all have that 1 light piece, right? So that's gonna give you like 1k pen, or like 900 something. I can't remember. It's in your light armor passives. Per piece gives you like 900. So bam, we got that now, right? Not too much to go, right? Like we don't have a lot to go. Let's take a peek here. Oh, here's one, Velothi. Okay, so hear me out. Arcanist DDs, literally all of them these days, are using Velothi. I don't know how it works. I don't know the math, but Velothi is like the best mythic ever to run on Arcanist. It's also a really good mythic to run on other DDs as well, but mainly Arcanist, right? Other DDs, sometimes they don't wear it, sometimes they wear the stuff like Kilt or Moras or whatever, but Arcanists will always be in Velothi, and Velothi will give you free pen. Literally just, because they feel like it. The devs said, hey, what if we just give them a shitload of pen just because? Make the new class broken, right? So we put Velothi on, and that's going to bump us up, a a lot. Wow. Oh my. Quite a big number. I don't know how to do the math on that, so we're gonna look up Velothi Amulet. 1650 pen. That's what ESO Hub says. I'll trust it. Cool. That's a lot of pen. 1650 pen's a lot. Okay, great. So there you go. You're always gonna have Velothi. You're always gonna have that one light piece. You're always gonna have the 2 Herald of the Tome. Blah 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 blah. Everything we've already covered. But guess what? We still aren't at pen cap. Now, you remember what I said in the very, very beginning of the video? Reaching pen cap is the most important thing that you need to do as a DD. That has to happen. If you're not reaching pen cap, then you are losing a lot of damage. Like, other stats, sure, they matter too, but pen is the most important one. Okay, so how do we get that, that last 2k? How do we get that? Most groups will opt for either Alkosh on a DD, Crimson Oath from Dreadseller, or Tremor Scale from Volenfell. These are your options. Groups bring pen sets in to help everybody reach pen. Now, hear me out. Remember, not everybody's an Arcanist, right? Let's say you're not an Arcanist. Let's take Herald of the Tome away. Let's take out Velothi just in case. You need like 5.5k pen. Everything else is standard between all DDs. We've evened the playing field, so you need like almost 6k pen, right? Easiest way to do that is probably Alkosh, I would say, because Alkosh on a DD is going to give you 6k pen maxed out. It's based off your weapon and spell damage. So a DD that's got plenty of weapon and spell damage, way over 6k, they're gonna give you 6,000 pen every time they proc Alkosh, and that's gonna push all of your DDs above the cap by a little bit, right? Assume that all of the other things, all the other uptimes are good, which they should be. You're gonna reach pen cap with Alkosh on a DD, but hear me out. Some groups, because they don't want to put Alkosh on a DK. I'm a big fan of this, actually. Not putting an Alkosh on a DK, letting them have a parse set. They can go with just Crimson, right? Now, since we've added Crimson, regular DDs who are not in Velothi, they're not an Arcanist, they aren't quite reaching pen cap by about 2k, which is a lot. 2k is a lot. You can't afford to not have that. So your Sork and your DK would then put on Force of Nature CP. It's a slottable in your blue CP tree. Then they can get to pen cap if they've got that, right? So them slotting a CP, so they can have a 5-piece parse set like Reliquin or something like that, or Coral, whatever, that's great. Or Azurblight. That's a big thing on Bosse that we've been messing around with, right? Is, letting your Zenkosh DK drop Kosh and instead putting Crimson on your main tank to get your pen for the team, right? That way your DK can wear Azurblight and get a huge parse. That's a real recent thing that we've been messing with in the last couple of months. So I think Ace Gaming, I think that was one of his ideas. Okay, we'll take that out. But yeah, so if you're an Arcanist though, right? Remember, we took out these points. Herald of the Tome, you're gonna have 2k pen on your front bar, and you're gonna have Velothi. Bam, look at that. You're overpenning, right? That's great. That's where you want to be. With just Crimson, not even Alkosh. Let's see what it is with Alkosh on. Bam, look at that. You're 4k overpen on an Arcanist, like all the time. But it does rely on good Alkosh uptimes. Everything else, Velothi is constant, Light Armor, Pen is constant, Piercing is constant, Herald of the Tome, you're going to have 2k pen on the front bar, 3k on the back bar. The only things here that matter uptime-wise are Major, Minor Breach, your Crusher Enchant, and your Alkosh. These uptimes matter. But remember what we said, we already looked at it. Major Breach and Minor Breach and Crusher, all three, they're really easy to keep up as long as your tank is using 2 skills. 2 skills alone. That's all he has to do is press those 2 skills and keep it up. So we don't even have to worry about these half the time. The big thing is Alkosh uptimes, right? So, okay, let's take a peek. Now, I will say, in this group, Sarah does not have Alkosh on a DD, but instead we're opting for the main tank to run it, just so they can It's a little more pen than Crimson, but it's a little harder to keep up for Alkosh. Let's go ahead and like take a look at the debuffs, right? So I'm in Alkosh. How good am I doing? Linebreaker, 95% Alkosh. This is pretty good. This is pretty consistent pen. Specifically on Oaks is still 95%. So I would say this is a really good uptime. I have no problem with this. Okay, so I think it's safe to say that this is a good uptime. This is exactly what you're looking uh, for Alkosh and Crimson and Tremor. Anything above like 90, right? That's what we're looking for. So like, you know, let's try to find bad uptimes real quick. Gonna go take a peeky poo here. In my Discord, I'm gonna take a peek. There's an actively running Rock Grove hard mode that's going on right now, and these are their logs. I don't mean to dox them or anything, but yeah, they're running right now. They're in the voice chat. They're actively doing boss A, and let's see, they've got Azure Sen, so that means they have Crimson on their tank. And they also have Tremor on their OT. That's not what I would have done, but okay. All right. Let's take a peek. Let's look. Are these uptimes good in just a regular Rock Grove hard mode, like progging it type core? What do we got? I'm lost. I can't find it. Maybe I'm crazy. Where's that thing? Was Control F? So we're looking for Crim. Oh, am I crazy? Wait a minute. He's in Crimson Oath, right? Yeah, he's in Crimson. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Yeah. So why? That's a little interesting. I'm not seeing Crimson Oath on the debuff list. What? What? Excuse me? Wait, hold on, let me. It's the main thing. So let's specifically look at Oaks. Do you guys see it? I don't. I don't think he has it. I don't think he procced it once. He must be doing something wrong. Oh, what? Oh my. Okay. So this is an example right here of let's say you're an Arcanist. um, all of their DDs are just missing out on however much pen Crimson is. It's like 3.5k, 3k, something like that. Let's go with the conservative value of 3k. All of these DDs are just losing out on Crimson. That's crazy. That's 3k pen that they just don't have. They're not getting it from anywhere else. They don't have Alkosh. They don't have anything. I think what's going on is he doesn't have a skill to proc it on this prep bar. He doesn't have a single skill that procs it. That is really unfortunate. So this right here is an example of bad, not good. Um, you know, not good pen. So let's look at the parses here, right? You know, to be fair, there's probably a lot of deaths. This person didn't die. Their top parser, Trip Cap, right? He did not die. He did 147. Let's take a peek at this other group. Did they do better? Yeah. We had 3 people doing absolutely crazy numbers here. Even, the Zindike, who's debuffing himself by wearing a support set, did more damage than their top parser, or just about close. He got pretty close. So, yeah, this is definitely something to look at. Look at your combat metrics. Look at the logs. Make sure that you're looking out for yourself. Look out for the debuffs that you need. Look at the uptimes. Learn how to use logs. Learn how to look in combat metrics. This is important. If you want your damage to go up, you want really high parses, then this is something to figure out. And then website esoresources.com. I use it. You should use it. Great website, great tool. And then just a reminder, it's by Alec with K. He raids in Pacific servers on NA. Good guy. Okay, I think that's about it. You got questions, comment it. I probably missed quite a few things, so make sure to point that out so everybody knows in the comments. Thank you.